and they were told to revert that decision immediately.
Why?
Nobody now can tell. This is what I'm telling you. This is the head of state, and he has called. He was returned even before the investigations were done, and the whole board was sacked. So
what's the president's interest in NTSA?
Because there is a lot of business, and I told you again, NTSA does not now do things to do with safety. It is about business. Just the other day, they were changing the Traffic Act without consulting even stakeholders. And they did this because they wanted to own these inspection centers, private inspection centers. In fact, I had to go to court. It was stopped by court. By now, we'll be having so many private inspection centers owned by who is who in this country. Such things like changing a traffic act is something which need proper public participation so that people can. Our problem is simple. It is corruption. Second, the president must stop interfering with NTSA. Let it work. Let everything be done. Let the law be followed. Let even his sons who have these nganyas follow the law. It is as simple as that. But if we keep on sugarcoating these things and we blame the police, you blame NTSA on the other side. Let me tell you, like now when we are talking like this, the CEO in NTSA should be have left the office because his term is coming to an end. He's supposed to be on leave as they are advertised, but it cannot happen because the interest in NTSA is so much, the amount of money which is going through these people. So the fact is that Kenya, if we need to have proper safety on our roads, let the police be left to do their work, politicians to stay aside, let everybody do his work. If it is SACCOs, give them the power to discipline their members.
Let me throw this question to Albert. Yes. Now that you've raised that, how is political interference affecting your work? Because we've been talking about SACCOs. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, so if I want to have a Matatu on the road today, I must belong to a SACCO, correct?
True.
Meaning that I'm operating a certain route and I can't operate elsewhere.
Sure.
So with this interference, because you earlier talked about the president's son, for example, is not part of your association.
Sure.
In this case, how has this affected your operations, and how does political interference in this case come in?
The political interference come in because when people are not adhering to the rules which have been put there with the NTSA, you will get that other people are being affected in terms of, for example, the SACCOs. Let's say you belong to a SACCO going to Rongai, and the same vehicle which is coming to mess around is operating within Rongai. You see there is still that interference. And maybe moving forward, what we are saying, let's say, for example, go to a SACCO called 4NT, which is our member. It comes from Nairobi, Nyahururu, Nakuru. There is discipline. They put discipline in place. They have inspectors on the road. And if you,
their own inspectors?
They have their own inspectors. And if you ask the driver will tell you it's better to be disciplined it's better to deal with the police than dealing with our inspector, because they are very ruthless and they make sure that they adhere to the rules which has been put there by the SACCO. But we still have what we call the political interference in a way that mostly Nairobi. You can see what the mess we have in Nairobi. Compare Nairobi with other SACCOs like Nyeri, that is 2NK SACCO. There is a bit of discipline. When it comes to accident ratio, the ratio is down on the accident side. And they have so many vehicles. Like 2NK, we talk about 1,800 vehicles on the road. And if you try to check, the accidents are very minimal because the driver, they are well disciplined. So to us, what we are saying, the politicians should keep off from the business and let the professional run the business. Yeah, let the professional run the business so that from there, we are here to make money, but we are not here to kill people on our roads.
David, here's a question where, you see, this country we're used to, every other time we are reacting to accidents. It has happened, we suspend SACCOs, we get vehicles off the road. It's when we're thinking of, there is an accident that happened on this bridge, we need to then expand the road and whatnot. Is it about time that as a country, like if you go to the US, there's always the MOT where every 6 months vehicles are taken for inspection. Is it about time that as a country we sat down and saw the need of preventing accidents than reacting, and what will it take for us to start thinking like
Thank you very much, because that is where we should be going. Trying to make sure that we prevent these accidents. For instance, you remember, I give you a very good example about Michuki. He came up with the speed governors. Speed governors were to limit the speed. Even if the driver is drunk, there is a speed, he will not, the vehicle will not go beyond a certain speed. But the current one, they removed the speed governors. We cannot say the speed governors on our road, because when you go on the highway and you are driving a vehicle, a lorry will pass you and then you'll be shocked. Because they brought what we call tracking devices to track the vehicles. And even they don't track. Tracking devices, they remove the speed governors. And when you go to the Act of Parliament, it is the speed governor or limiter which is in the Act of Parliament. But because of business and other interests, they removed that. So what we are trying to say is this. It is good to prevent, not to go and, like now when you put those tracking devices, yes, you will know the vehicle was on a speed, but already people have died. So what we need is to make sure that we prevent these accidents, and the measures are there. Let me tell you today that in Kenya, we have enough laws, policies, more than any other country in Africa. African countries are using our laws. They are coming here, adapting. Go to Rwanda, whatever they are using was developed in Kenya. Go to Nigeria, anything they are using, developed in Kenya. Go to Ethiopia here, they are using our standards. But as the owners of these standards, we don't want to enforce our own standards. And the reason of not enforcing, because when you enforce these standards, it is a bit expensive. It will be expensive. And people want to use shortcuts. And when shortcuts are used, that is exactly why you are seeing the things happening.
So
ask
how are we going to get to
yourself, we have 290 black spots in the country. Why? These black spots, they are known. Why do we have to keep black spots in a country? And the government writes, Akimbao Pale, this is a black spot. And maybe it is just a design, a road design, we have engineers who can just design, little money is used, and that black spot is forgotten. Simple.
So how are we going to get to reset? And I think that's that. You can have laws because the thing is that where laws exist in other jurisdictions, you don't have to beg people to adhere. There is precedent that is set. There is it's not even incentive that is given, but the precedent is set, and people know that beyond this line you do not cross. You behave a certain way because the system demands, and that you have that thing in you that says, you know what, I'm just going to act right. We have people overlapping. We have people, driving vehicles on worn out parts. We have all of these things happening in the same ecosystem that demands proper behavior. How are we going to get to the place whereby, yes, there's government policy, there is this political interference that we talk about, which also has to be sorted out, but then there's also the behavior of the human being that needs to be brought into check. Can we do that? Or is it a difficult one to achieve?
Okay, within the Matatu we can do it, and we've said about we have SACCOs, and the NTSA should let the SACCO discipline their members in case of an accident. They should be monitoring. They should just be there to give policies to the SACCOs to make sure that the SACCOs are adhering to the rules which have been put in place.
What happens to somebody who, for example, if somebody is going to be censured, what happens to this individual who behaves out of turn?
You see, to me, if you try to discipline for example, the driver or the owner of the vehicle, you will get that he will take you to court sometimes, and he may even take you to NTSA and is returned there with the mess which he has done. But to us, what we are saying, when Mishuki was there, we talked about the SACCO, and we believe that if we work through the SACCOs and they are well managed, will not have those messes we have as we talk right now. If you go to the accidents which are occurring right now, he has talked about the personal cars are number one, followed by the border and the zebra crossing. When it comes to Matatu, we are number 4. So if you check, we can be better if the SACCOs can be empowered. We are not fully empowered. When it comes to the issue of empowerment, we've seen the government going around talking about empowerment. They don't touch about Matatus. They go to the border. When you check on the border, it is high risk, and you compare even in terms of fare paying, it's very expensive to use a border than a Matatu. So what we are urging the government, they should sit down and see how to work very closely with these Matatu circles so that we can be empowered and make sure that the mess which is there, training of the drivers, even the circles can train the drivers. They can be able to put that discipline we are looking for, and we can be able to be there to make sure that the discipline is adhering to. Yes.
And when you ask me, I say self-regulation.
Yeah.
Not only Matatu, but even the Boda sector, they should self-regulate themselves so that they know we have a circle. Our circle, we have 30 motorbikes. So even a thief comes to that, because now many people are using the Boda in a way of criminal things and activities, and we will continue blaming the Boda, and sometimes you realize that Boda belongs to who. So we have been trying to discuss with NTSA, but it has been a very big problem when we talk of self-regulation. If it is SACCOs, give the SACCOs the power. So that if somebody does something, the SACCO has the power to go and report that person to NTSA, and if he's summoned once, the mistake will never happen again.
But you're hearing Albert saying that they do that. But this same person goes to NTSA because either is a politician or is a big person, and this same person they're trying to discipline as a circle is out the next day.
Yes. That is exactly what is happening. That's what I'm saying. Self-regulation, it is not happening because of the political
interference.
Yeah. And again, we don't have that goodwill of the government. Remember Kibaki's time, there was the goodwill of road safety. He had Michuki in place. He was himself. An accident happened, you could hear the president himself saying something. All these people who have died, our president have not even said a word. When you talk about the CS, he's still talking about putting, what do you call this thing, collecting money? Tolls on our roads while people are dying. But instead of thinking, everything is thinking about money.
And there you go.
He has not even discussed about 100 people have died. It is his ministry where he should be resigning as we are talking, if it is in another country. Indeed. But he's talking about toll. We must put toll there. Money. So that's that's a problem we have.
And as we come to the end of this conversation, we then must ask that when will we then look at the value of life over money? And those are questions because lives are being lost, but money is being made the star. Those are questions we ask. Those are the conversations that we have in the Situation Room. We want to say a big thank you to Albert Karakacha and David Njoroge Kiarie for joining us in this morning. We won't stop. We need to continue shining the spotlight. We'll keep talking as we do right here on Kenya's biggest conversation.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.